Show. Yeah, I believe in you. I don't believe in lucky sevens. I'm not sure about Loch Ness, but I know I believe in angels. I believe in happiness. Good evening, everybody. It's wonderful to see you. I am so happy that everybody's connected this evening. We have a wonderful guest. I cannot wait to talk about a fabulous rom-com that is going to just knock your socks off. The trailer is amazing. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. Up first and foremost, I do want to say happy birthday to somebody. I have my mommy. It is my mother's birthday today. She is doing wonderful. Let me tell you something. I called her earlier, and our conversation seemed to be getting longer and longer, which I absolutely love. So I spent about an hour and 15 minutes with her and then an hour with my father. And he made her a wonderful lobster dinner. And you know what she did? I couldn't believe it. And I'm going to have to talk to my brother about it. She took a picture of her dinner and she posted it on Facebook. I think this is her first ever post. So I better watch myself because she's getting good with the technology. And she knows how to check up on all of us now. So happy birthday, Mom. You are so gorgeous and so beautiful and so inspiring that I couldn't ask for a better mom. So happy birthday to you. I hope that you had an absolutely fantastic day. All right, everybody. So we have a sponsor this evening, and I had to say I indulged a little bit with the sponsor's product, and I'm wide awake. It's like it's 6 o'clock in the morning and we're ready to go. Good evening, Ken. It's wonderful to see you. Yes, happy birthday, Mama. And good evening, Michael. It's so great to see you. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see what Ken has to say. Yeah, she is. And you are your mama's daughter. Thank you so much. That is so very sweet. All right, so let's talk about the sponsor this evening, Viter Energy. I have had Viter Energy mints with us for quite a while. And I'll tell you what I did. I do like my chocolate. I try to stay away from most sweet things, but I like my chocolate. And I have a little hidden stash here in the studio. So I had some chocolate, and then I thought, I'm going to need a little caffeine this evening. So I grabbed the Viter Energy mints. But you know what they have? They have a chocolate mint Viter Energy mint. And here's why I love them. So each little mint is 40 milligrams of caffeine per, which is like about a half a cup of coffee, right? It's full of B vitamin complex in each mint, niacin B3, B6, folic acid, and vitamin B12. 20 mints per tin, sugar-free, 0 calories, with a strong minty flavor. They're vegan, Star-K kosher, gluten, dairy, soy, wheat-free. And when they first came on, I had a nice little interview with them, and they wrote me in a card when they sent their product to us. And here's what they said. So this was developed by two gentlemen, one by the name of Brian, the other one, Jacob. We're two friends on a mission to live more energetic lives. We came up with the idea for Viter Energy Mints when we wanted more energy at a Dave Matthews Band concert. Easy to carry, convenient to take on the go, and not something you drink. These mints taste great, and they work when you need an extra boost. And they really, truly do. And you know what they also don't do? They don't leave you hanging. How many of our caffeinated products are, artificially based, and then you feel so jittery, and then all of a sudden you're ready for a nap like 2 hours later? That's not what this is. So make sure that you go over to goviter.com. Let me bring that up here on the screen. It's goviter.com for an extra boost and fresh breath and a go to your day. So I'm going to leave that scrolling at the bottom. Go ahead and write it down, but don't go anywhere because our guest is coming to the show just a moment. Oh, yes, we have a Viter energy mint user. The cinnamon has a serious pow. It really does. I mean, if you like cinnamon, this is like cinnamon with that little bit of burn in the back. It's really great. All right, so the wonderful, beautiful lady that has gifted us some time this evening, she's coming to us from Los Angeles, and her name is Amanda Raymond. She is a New York transplant living in Los Angeles. Her directing background includes the feature films You Are My Home with Alyssa Milano that she directed, co-wrote, and served as an executive producer on, which is currently on Netflix. She has a new one, and I'm excited about this. My Favorite Girlfriend, releasing in August 2022 with a limited theatrical run. Amanda Raymond is an American film director, producer, and screenwriter. Her films include My Favorite Girlfriend 2022, You Are My Home 2021, and the noir short film From Emily 2019, which won multiple awards and was screened at festivals worldwide. She is a published author as well, with works including the novel Son of Sherlock 2017 and the comic The Legion of Molly Doves. I had to look this up. I'm going to be asking her about this because this just sounds outrageously like delicious. I want to dive into it. So it's a steampunk time traveling investigation comic book. Love it. She is connected with us this evening to discuss her writing, to discuss her movie that she has coming out, My Favorite Girlfriend. And without any further ado, Miss Amanda Raymond. How are you this evening, Amanda?
Hi, I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, and happy birthday to your mom.
Oh, thank you so much. She really had a great day. Everybody made it so special, and I'm really thankful for that. She still has my dad by her side. They've been married for 60 years. So
Oh
I
my
know.
God.
Right.
Congratulations.
When that anniversary was coming up, I'm like, Mom, 60 years with this, what? Like, I can't. So, but they've had a great run. They've really got a great relationship going on.
Oh,
But we're not here to talk about my mom and dad and their anniversary. We're here to talk about My Favorite Girlfriend. I love it. Of course, the first thing I did was watch the trailer. Like, this is just the most epic rom-com ever. And this is your creation, right?
yeah. From start to finish. It started off with a log line, and it was I have an investor that has wanted to work with me for a while, and he said, "Do you have anything? What do you have next? What do you want to do?" And then I was like, "Well, I don't know. People were sending me scripts to do, and I just didn't really like any of them." And I was like, I just my manager sent me stuff, my producer sent me stuff, and I was trying to find someone's email in like an old notebook, and I found like this log line I'd written down. I said, "Oh." Said, so, hey, what about this idea where this guy thinks he has a perfect girlfriend because she's a different personality every day because she has multiple personalities, and you think that's wonderful? And they're like, that's hilarious. I like it. Can I read it? I'm like, well, it's a log line, so I got to write it.
That is awesome.
And
How long did it take you to write it? Because that's pretty intricate, right?
yeah, it was one of these weird scripts that just kind of flew out of me. I wrote the first draft in 4.5 days. Um, yeah,
Wow.
a little crazy, but I did do an
Wow.
outline first. I spent a day writing the outline, and then the script was 4.5 days.
Oh my gosh. All right. So when you're writing something like that and you're writing multiple personalities, is it essentially, it's full character creation. Just it happens to be the same actor, actress
Yeah.
taking on that persona, right?
Yeah, it's she has to play the one lead actress has to play six different alters. They don't call them personalities in the DID world. They're called and referred to as alters
Okay.
throughout the script. And I'm a really big a stickler for research. Like that's super important to me, and I want it to be as authentic and as accurate as possible. So when I first had the idea, I'm from Syracuse, New York, and I had an old therapist from that I've still stayed in touch with. He's been like a mentor and like a father figure to me. And I said, hey, random question. You don't know anybody who treats DID by any chance, do you? He said, well, you've come to the right place. I've treated it for 32 years. I
Wow.
was like, this idea. And so I'd sent him the treatment. And from the treatment, he had given me feedback on it and the story. And then I wrote the various drafts of the script. The first draft again was 4.5 days, and there's different iterations and different notes I'd gotten from my producers and from my manager and from my consultant. And then we brought on somebody that actually has DID, that we found that has a TikTok. They're the A system. And they came on and they read the script and they would give me notes on every draft and different thoughts. And something that was very complimentary for me was even just the very first draft of the script that they read, the A system. They said, this first draft right out of the gate is the most accurate portrayal of anybody having DID that we have ever seen, because they are not, a guy or a girl, because there's both female and male alters, both in the system. So they're referred to as they.
What a great point. I mean, out of anything that I've ever heard of or read about, you're so right. Each character can come out in so many different personas, and it just blurs genders. It's not gender specific.
Yeah, because one system can have, an 80-year-old German woman and speak fluent German, and another alter can be a 7-year-old boy, and then another alter can be, a black man that lives in Harlem who's 30. It's just, you just never know. But it's fascinating. I found it very, very intriguing. And so
Mhm.
doing all the research on it, and talking to the A system about it, the way I had written it, I wasn't entirely sure how the switching worked. And I said, can they just switch, right in front of you, just sitting there? And it said, yeah. It said it can be a color, it can be a song, it can be a smell that can trigger another alter. So like in the movie, we have one of the alters is a rock star, and when you mention a band or you talk about rock or music, all of a sudden then she's now the other alter. And it can be, when I asked them what the sensation was like, they said it's like what you'd call in film like a push pull. And then there's kind of like a whoosh kind of sound where it's kind of like, like it kind of sound goes in and out for a moment. So I was like, that really helps me when figuring out the sound design, because now you help me understand what it means when they're switching and what that is like.
Oh, that's such a visual description, because to me, I heard that like it's like a page turning, like a complete loss
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
exactly where you are, and a page turns, and there you are as whoever comes forward. So interesting. I didn't even think about the research that it would take behind the script of creating
Yeah.
a character such as that. Now, what about casting for that particular type of character?
Well, I had seen The Vow on HBO. It's a story about the Nexium, the cult that was in upstate New York. And in watching it, I saw Bonnie Peace in that, and she just came off as such a genuine, kind, deep person. And because of the PTSD that she had suffered, through having been in Nexium and what that had done to her, I just knew that she would be able to kind of go there, just this kind of, a deep and kind of a darker place that you would need to for this role, because it may seem fun. It's like, oh, you're playing all these different personalities or alters, and you're this and then you're that. But it comes from a place of, usually people that have DID, it comes from some sort of trauma or abuse.
Mm.
And the fact that I know she'd experienced that, I know that I could work with her and we could really make this as authentic as possible, and not just like this goofy, like we're playing different, characters in one movie. Like I really wanted somebody who could go there. And I just was watching her. When she first met with me, she's like, how do you know I can do this? I said, I just know. I just know. And then the whole time she was very nervous about it. Then afterwards I said, see, I told you I was right. But she was just a gem. She was so dedicated, and we rehearsed so much before we shot, and we really, really got into each one of the alters and who they were. And I even got her, certain friends of mine were kind of some of the alters personalities, were based on. And so I had her meet with them and like hear their cadences of how they talk and how they refer to things and their body language. And it was a really, really fun process.
Oh, I mean, for someone that absolutely loves their craft, she must have really, really enjoyed this. It's not too often that you see a project with someone with DID. I mean, there's a few of them, there's a handful of them out there, but it really stands alone for what you've done here with My Favorite Girlfriend. Now, what about the leading man playing across someone with DID as, his girlfriend.
Mhm.
What was it like trying to direct him to where you needed him to go with each character?
It was actually Tyler Johnson plays the lead male. He plays Conrad, who also has he has not DID, but he has OCD. And when I first, when I first saw him, I was like, he looks the part, and I think he can play this kind of goofy, awkward, incredibly good looking guy who doesn't know that he's a good looking guy. And when people first saw his reel, they're like, that's never gonna work. But he just has this sweetness and this kindness about him, and this, you know. He plays the insecurity really, really well. And they told me the reason he wanted to do the project was his brother actually has OCD.
Oh.
But it's not like the full blown, like, it's not everyone that has OCD is like Monk or as good as it gets. There are varying degrees and levels. And what I really wanted to show in this is that just because you're not, the extreme version on the spectrum of it, it doesn't mean your feelings and what you're going through is any less valid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. I love that. So I have a question here from a viewer. He's saying, do you think that most people have some sort of DID? I know a lot of actors work on having them, but it comes so easy for a lot of the great actors.
I wouldn't say it's DID. I think a lot of actors are empaths, and they have this ability to kind of, watch and observe people and kind of cater and change their persona or their demeanor based on the person that they're with, for good or for bad. Like, I know Peter Sellers, they said he didn't really know what his personality was because he would kind of be whatever character he was, and then he was that person. So I think it's just an amazing ability to kind of morph into someone else.
Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you about acting yourself. I know the information that's out there. You're a producer, you're executive producer, you're a wonderful dynamic director. I've got to say, one thing I didn't find too much of is, have you been on in front of the camera, and do you enjoy it?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
I love it, actually. I came from acting originally, so I say that I am an actor's director, because I know that world. I know where they go. I know what kind of motivation that they need, and it's just, I need you to walk here from there. It's like, not just because it looks good. It's like there has to be a conscious decision of why your character would do that, and I'm always very cognizant of that and try to explain that to my actors. When I'm working with them, that it isn't just like, I want you to say this line to say it. There's a deeper meaning behind it. Um, I came from stage. I did a lot of stage in Syracuse. I did children's theater. I did dinner theater. I did sketch comedy. I was part of the show called Off on a Tangent. It was a public access comedy show like at SNL in
Mhm.
Syracuse that, we used to write and do in college, and it was a lot of fun. In fact, one of my former producers on that said they recently found some old VHS tapes that I can't wait to get my hands on. It'll be wonderful. But but yeah, I do love it. I had worked in animation and then live action, and the I didn't have great managers or agents back in the day, and as much as I still love it, I do love directing, and I throw myself in little things when I can. I have a little cameo in My Favorite Girlfriend, so I still try to do that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I do. I do.
Oh, that's so great. Can we take a watch of the trailer for My Favorite Girlfriend? Okay. While I'm queuing this up, would you mind telling us a little bit about the pieces that you decided to put into the trailer? And you know how some trailers for movies, they put all the best pieces, and then we go to watch the movie and it's like, oh, everything was in the trailer. That's not this. So
No.
how did you figure out which pieces to put into the trailer?
Well, I think the thing that's most important is just to get out that there are, multiple alters. That there are, when you just say like, oh, my girlfriend has DID. It's like, you need to physically show that, but how do you do that really, really quickly? So the easiest way is just like, hi, I'm Sarah. Hi, I'm so and so. Yeah, hey, I'm Silk. So like she just kind of gets into the different alters, so you immediately know what it is, and you get, whoa, this is gonna be a ride.
Awesome.
Think it was his girlfriend. Hopefully not anymore.
Come on, man.
Hold on, let me back it up here. All right.
He beat the shit out of his girlfriend. Really bad. At least I think it was his girlfriend. Hopefully not
Come
anymore.
on, man.
Tell him how you beat the shit out
That
of
is.
him. And it wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last time either. Tell him!
Bitch got what she
Oh, this-
deserved.
That's
There
not.
he is.
That's not it. No.
No, that's now. Is that your director's
like-
reel that we were watching?
No, that was actually one of my other actors, Michael DeBacco. So
Oh.
he was in.
I am so sorry. Okay, just one moment. We
worries.
will figure this out here. So, my favorite girlfriend. Here it is.
Like one of our EPs. That's funny.
There it is. All right. This is my favorite girlfriend.
Yes.
Late and you're using my oven. You touch that pan once more without asking, and I will break your fingers.
Yes. I'm Molly.
So how long is this one gonna last?
She's different.
I'm Vanessa.
I've been seeing her for weeks now,
I'm Sarah.
and
I'm Silk.
she kind of has multiple personalities.
Oh, hell no.
Who are you? Not again.
She legit doesn't remember conversations from when she's someone else. She's like a roller coaster.
Drink up.
There's so much about her I don't know.
This better not be a game to you.
I'm usually the guy that walks out the door, but this time I don't want to be.
You always find something wrong with her. They leave makeup on my white towels. They rearrange my action figures. You always have an excuse. Why this one?
I just want to understand her.
Don't break her heart.
She's literally my favorite girlfriend ever. I want to help her.
She's been hurt before.
If only she could see what I could see.
I told you, I don't care how many women you date, they just can't make you late.
There are 5 of them actually.
Take off your apron and get up.
What a great project. So,
Thank you.
would you mind this? And this is a big question, but would you mind taking us through for some of those filmmakers out there that are always curious from the moment of inception all the way through to when a project is in the can and it's ready for the film circuit, for the festival circuit, or it has finished up with the festival circuit and now it is ready to release. Can you tell us in the any way you'd want to, what does all of that entail?
Gosh, well, I mean, it always varies film to film, but on this particular one, it was, the log line getting approved, then the outline getting approved, then the script being to a place where we could actually cast it. And then once we got Bonnie involved and once we got her to sign off on it and wanting to do it, then it was full on, okay, these are her dates because she was shooting Obi-Wan. So she was doing Obi-Wan Kenobi for Disney Plus. And so we had to work around her dates. So, we had my initial investor and then we needed additional finance for finishing funds. And then my producing partner, Ram, brought on 2 Davids, David Lipper and David Briner, and they came in with the remainder of the money and actually had some casting suggestions that were wonderful. Like David Briner is the one that knew Keston John, who is the best friend, Will, who goes, oh, hell no. So that was, he brought him in, and David Lipper knew Ray Abruzzo, who plays the restaurant owner, with the glasses and the little cap. And Ray was fantastic. So it was a very, very collaborative effort of really everybody, contributing as far as casting, as far as putting the project together, as far as booking locations. One of the main locations, it's the Red Door in Burbank, and I happen to know the owner, and he was very excited about it and having his location used, and gave it to us for a song for our small little film, which we really appreciated. He actually also was in it. He played the character Tommy, who was opposite Ray Abruzzo, and he did a fantastic job. He was in my short film as well, but he really knocked it out of the park in this one. I'm very proud of him. But yeah, it's it feels like normally a film can take a long, long time to get set up, and this one was just kind of lightning in a bottle. Just kind of the right pieces kind of came together at the right time, and the right people were interested for the right reasons. And yeah, I'm very grateful, and I feel very fortunate for that.
And so this releases on the 5th of August, 2022. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And where is it releasing to?
So it's going to be a limited theatrical release. It's going to be in Tampa, Phoenix, Orlando, Los Angeles, and Cleveland. So limited markets. And then a week later, it's going to be right to VOD. So it'll be like Amazon Prime, AT&T, Verizon, anywhere that you can purchase or buy a movie.
And how long would that be before we might be able to, watch it through Amazon Prime? Like, I want to know, when can I go, put it
August
up on the
9th.
couch
August 9th
and
it'll be
watch
on
it?
Amazon.
So how long did I was talking over you. I apologize.
Oh, sure. August 9th is when it'll be available on Amazon Prime.
I love it. It's like 2.5 weeks away. This is really exciting.
I'm excited and nervous.
Well, I mean, it must have had just rave reviews through the through the festival circuit, right?
Well, we actually didn't even do the festival circuit. Our distributor, Saban, actually gave us an MG and agreed to buy it just based on the script, which I was very, very grateful for. It doesn't usually work that way. But yeah, they believed in the concept and the script. They actually had no notes on the script, which I was you're always a little wondering what's up with that. But, because it's like, there's got to be something. Tell me something in here. But yeah, it was not, I wouldn't say an easy process. Nothing is ever easier, but we didn't even have to do the festival circuit to get it picked up.
Wow. Oh, congratulations on that. I mean, that has got to be just so much work when you have a project that is going through the festival circuit. It seems to me, as someone, I've never put a project through the festival circuit. So you would know much more information than I do, but it seems like that is a very long process of a lot of hurry up, wait.
Yeah.
Wait for what's the feedback from each one of them? I mean, which ones do you like best out of all the festivals out there?
Gosh, well, I mean, I love Sundance. I love going out there, even as cold and everything as it is. There's just being there ever is there's just such a gravitas to that.
Mhm.
And I would love to play there. I would love my next film to be there. I was actually talking to a producer about my next project, and she's like, "So where would you like this to go first?" I was like, "Sundance, Sundance, man." All the big ones. But I do like that one in particular, just because also you can go skiing while you're there, and that's
Right.
always nice.
Oh, how nice. I love it. Well, I mean, again, congratulations on that. I mean, to get it picked up without going through the film festival circuit and everything, you have done an amazing job. And I think it really shows, and being behind the camera as you have been, and directing and producing. I mean, that's a lot of the grit that goes into filmmaking. And we've seen a lot of men behind the side, that end of the camera. And for you as a woman in the industry behind the camera like that, directing, producing, executive producing, what is your biggest takeaway, your biggest positive that you absolutely love about being a woman in this industry, in your position? What do you love the most about it?
I think what I love is just the trust that your actors give you.
Mhm.
It's almost like that nurturing, almost like motherly type thing. And not even with actors that are older than me, it's just they trust you. And I do say, that you want work done, they say you'll give it to a woman. But we're good at multitasking. So I think
Mhm.
that's just another thing too, is it's like they tell you, oh, we need this center, that's going to be done. And they're like, well, man, it's going to be done. If Amanda said she's going to do it, it's, don't worry about it. But just, yeah, the trust that I could do this, from a script. I had one movie that I had directed, and, from my producers that came on, to believe in me and give me this opportunity, to our executive producers that came on, not knowing me or anything about me, and just reading the script and said, yeah, we'll come on board and we'll be part of this. And, as confident as I was in the story and my actors, there's still a lot of that, feeling of like being a fraud. It's like, do I really know what I'm doing? Am I really going to be able to deliver what they want? And am I going to make my days? And, there's still all of that insecurity that comes into it. But they trusted me. And so I think that, not to say that men directors aren't trusted. I'm not saying that, but I just feel that, there's like a certain level of comfort with women sometimes.
Mhm.
That's like, I just need a hug. Like, you need a hug? Let's have a hug day. It's fine. You're having a rough day. Let's just, it's fine.
That is nice because that does bring out the best, the most positive, the most tender side to a person when they feel like they've been nurtured.
Yeah.
So that's quite amazing. It's really interesting watching some of these films and knowing that there was a female director, there's women behind the camera, and then there's men behind the camera, and both are equally dynamic films. They're wonderful projects. But, every once in a while, you can kind of tell the personality of who is behind that camera and the potential environment that was there, no matter if it's the man or the woman, but with someone that has a tender heart, they're truly engaging fully with their heart, and they have that nurturing side to them. I think it brings out so much in a project. And it's really spectacular. Congratulations on My Favorite Girlfriend. You do have another project out there that I really want to ask about. And we talked a little bit about it in the green room. So I know a little bit more information than our viewers do. But you have written a comic book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the comic book. I'm going to bring up the book cover so everybody can see it while you're telling us.
Yeah, it's called The Legion of Molly Doves. It actually came out at Comic-Con, which Comic-Con is going on right now, a couple of years ago. And, we had the one issue, it did reasonably well. And then the idea was to turn it into a TV series. So what I have been doing now is I have a pilot and a Bible that I've written for it. It's very kind of steampunk, which I'm kind of making a little more diesel punk now in the pilot. But it's sci-fi, it's time travel. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely female empowerment. Molly Dove is she's an inventor. Her father was an inventor, created the time machine. Her mother disappeared, in the making of the time machine. She was put in the machine. She volunteered, disappeared. No one's ever known what really has happened to her, and he's been searching for her ever since. So being the inventor's daughter of a very distracted dad has been difficult for her, but she's surrounded by her best friends who are kind of like a Charlie's Angels, if you will. One is like in the modern version of the NYPD. Another one's a museum curator. They're just it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And in the story, Imperial Russia is actually still in power, and so the Romanovs are still there, and they're still being led by I love the monarchy, so I've always been obsessed with like Anastasia and all those sort of things. So that's been a lot of fun to research and write. And again, because I love research. I love that sort of thing.
That has a lot of different moving parts to it. So what age group would you say would be your youngest readers?
I would say the more modern one, it can be teen or maybe even tween. It's not like it's super dark and graphic. I'd say it's more like a Birds of Prey type of show.
Okay.
So I'd say something you'd see on like, DC or the CW, what have you.
Oh, interesting. And what about the language? No harsh language or anything like that in there where it would be the older tweens to teens?
Yeah, there's not like a lot of profanity in it. There might be like oh what the hell kind of thing, but it's definitely definitely a PG-13 rating.
All right. And so this is also going to be adapted into an episodic, more of a TV series. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So tell us your wish list. Who would you want to play Molly?
Honestly, Chloe Grace Moritz would be a wonderful choice. I think she's insanely talented.
And what about some of the other characters? Questions. I want to know.
Oh goodness. I hadn't gotten that far as far as thinking about casting. To be perfectly honest, it's still like relatively new of like the pilot being written and such. But she's definitely somebody I had in mind. Like for her grandfather, the older gentleman, it's like he'd be like a younger Sean Connery, so I still haven't kind of quite figured out who that would be, like a Kevin Kline maybe, who I love.
Interesting. Well,
And
that's so different, you know? I mean, a lot of the comic books, I have a couple of boys that one son really that enjoys comic books, and you know, he's read a lot of the Dog Man stuff. It's either animals or it's superheroes. And this one, it's like it has a highway of its own. It really is set out from the others, which I find so interesting because you don't find comic books that are, number one, it features a girl, which there are. I know everybody's gonna jump on. What about Wonder Woman and and all of the, you know, Poison Ivy and all these other female characters that are yes, there are. But this one, Molly, is the center focus. And she's not like cape wearing and fighting crime. She's the investigator.
yeah, she's kind of like a little Sherlock Holmes. I have
Yeah.
an obsession with Holmes, but you know, she's the inventor. She's smart. She's not like a, you know, rock'em sock'em kind of like, you know, kicking butt type thing. Her one friend who works for the NYPD is a little more like that. But she uses brains versus brawn. And so, you know, the inventor's daughter, she comes up with contraptions that she can use to do things, and that's how she kind of gets her way out of situations, is by all the little mechanical things that she's built.
Oh, how cool is that? Well, I mean, this is going to be a new book that's going to be on our reading list. I can't wait. And my boys are absolutely going to love it. Even my daughter, she just turned 15. So she might really fall into this comic book series as well. And everybody, it is available on Amazon. And this is an ebook download, right? Because it is showing up at $3.99. So everybody make sure that you go to Amazon and search The Legion of Molly Doves. And I'm just blown away by all your projects. I mean, we could sit here and just talk and talk and talk all night. And Amanda, I want to thank you so much for coming on and telling us about your project. We are all super excited. I know, unfortunately, it won't be showing in my city, but on August 9th, I'm going to go and find My Favorite Girlfriend, because I want to watch it. I'm really, really excited about it. And
I would love to hear your thoughts. I really would.
oh, that leads me into a great question. Tell us, where can people follow you? Where could they maybe leave some feedback from the film?
Oh yeah. First of all, obviously IMDb, you can always, you know, if you like it, you know, give us some stars and a little review. Those always really help with the ratings on IMDb. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. I don't really use Twitter. I'm kind of more an IG and Facebook person. But that's really the best way to reach out to me. And I do like to hear from people, so I will respond. It may take me a minute because it's a little busy right now with a movie being released, but yeah, no, I love to hear feedback. I love to hear thoughts. We had a screening and premiere last week, and one of the things that was really lovely was a woman came up to me, or didn't come up to me, but it was during the Q&A, and she said, "Thank you so much for making this film." She says, "My daughter has OCD, but a more milder case like Conrad, and she's faced a lot of criticism by people saying, well, you don't really have OCD because you're not as far out there as you know, like Monk is or what have you." And she's like, "But it is real, and it is debilitating, and it is difficult for her sometimes to function or to leave the house. And this is one thing that people just didn't really understand." She says, "So thank you for shining a light on that, and I appreciate it."
Yeah.
And that, to me, that made the whole night. You know, that really did.
Yeah. You know, at first glance, it sounds like a very interesting story, you know, but when you explain it as you did, and you bring it so much more depth of how real it is, it really hits home with saying, you know, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's so many people, especially OCD. We hear about that one. That's sort of like a table topic, right? I mean, it's everybody knows somebody that has OCD of some level, degree, and
Yeah.
there's so many other things that play into it, of the anxiety that it causes. From the anxiety can go into the depression that it can cause. And I really enjoy this time that we have right now where we can shine light on so many things that most people only know a little bit about, but we get to expand on it and we get to understand how it, who is Amanda, who is Elizabeth, and we respect each other. And so thank you so much for creating a project that's really going to allow people to understand one another. I think that's so important right now.
So it is really important to me that I want it to be educational. And so Michael Nouri plays our therapist, who is just wonderful. I mean, he's a very seasoned actor. He was Victor Victoria. He's in Yellowstone right now. He's just an incredibly wonderful gentleman as well. But he's the educational part of it that explains what DID is, what it's like, how difficult it is to treat, and just kind of how you can function with it. And it was interesting. Someone else I knew had watched it and she was laughing and having a good time. And at the end of the movie, she was very quiet. And I said, did you not like it? Did you like what's? And she says, I think I might have DID.
Oh.
I was like, really? And I'd kind of seen different variations of her before. And so the more she thought about it, she's like, yeah, I mean, it may be not to the extreme that we see in the movie, but she's like, I think I haven't really thought about. So I thought that was really interesting. She's like, I want to do it. I'm like, well, don't self-diagnose based on watching this movie. And that's one thing I do want to tell people is don't automatically say, oh, I guess I have this. I think my friend has this. Like, definitely seek out a trained professional to discuss this with. But if it does prompt someone to want to try to get help, then I've done my job.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your work. What do you have coming in the future that you can release? Some things you can say, some things you can't. We all understand that. But is there anything coming into the future that you want us to be watching out for?
Well, as a complete departure from my last two films, I'm producing right now a docu-series about the Amityville murders, actually for FX. That comes out in February. It's the true story behind the DeFeo murders. For anybody who's familiar with Amityville, this isn't just about the haunting. It's about what really happened prior to the haunting that we all know in the Amityville films and The Conjuring and all that sort of thing. So it's the true crime element of that to really kind of delve into the truth, basically.
Oh, wow.
And that's all I can.
Okay. All right. Well, take it. When you can tell us a little bit more, I'd love to have you on the show again. This has been really, really enjoyable to get to know you and to hear about your projects and everything that you do. I really want to thank you for your time and for giving that to all of us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Elizabeth. I really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. All right. We'll see you again soon, Amanda. Absolutely. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. As always, we are blessed, you are blessed, and good night. I will see you very soon. Mwah. Love you. Amanda, that was awesome. We are no longer live.